Assalamu alaikum. Last time we have discussed the while loop and today we will be discussing the nested while loop. So nested while loop is basically a loop. Nested loop is a loop inside the body of another loop, inside the body of another loop. This is basically a nested loop, and we can call this nested loop as inner loop, right? So we have a simple syntax of nested while loop. First we have condition, and then we have some statements here, and we have another while loop which is basically inner loop or nested loop. We can call it both. This is while loop, nested while loop, and again we have some statements here which will be executed once the condition of inner loop is executed. So we can call this inner condition and we call this inner statements, right? And the loop in which it is nested, this is called that is called outer loop. So what is outer loop? In which loop is nested, right? So the inner loop exists inside the loop. That loop is called outer loop. So this we can call this outer conditions, and we call this outer statements, right? This is outer loop and this is inner loop or nested loop, right? And once this loop is terminated, this loop is executed, then we can have outer statements again, which are executed once the all statements before these statements are executed, right? And clear? So this is the general syntax of nested while loop. First of all, we have outer loop, and once the outer condition is true, these outer statements will be executed if there are any, and then inner loop will be executed based on inner condition. If the inner condition is true, then inner statements will be executed, and then we have outer statements once this loop is executed completely, right? So now let's design a program for nested while loop. This is the syntax is written here on the right side, and we are writing here the while loop. So first we initialize a variable which will basically control the while loop. So that is int I equals 1, and we have while condition, and condition is simple. We want to design a program for printing the numbers from 1 to 10 as less than or equals 10, and we have cout statements. This will be basically and al, right? And then we have I plus plus, which is increment or decrement. So this is the syntax for simple while loop. We execute these statements and let's check the output. Well succeeded. We have compiled and executed the program, and this is the output 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? So this is the output of the program, right? This is a simple while loop, and now we are designing a program for using nested while loop. So we have these statements, and let's say we are writing here another while loop. So for another while loop, we have to first initialize the variable, and I is declared already, so we cannot declare I variable, right? Because this is already used. Okay, so we will declare the variable j, and this will be again 1, and then while loop, and we have some condition. Let's suppose j is less than or equals 3, and we have cout statement, and we want to print here the value of I and the value of j, and then and l, right? So we remove this statement. Okay, this I plus plus is used for outer loop, and for inner loop we have j, so we will write here j plus plus, right? And let's say we don't want to run the outer loop till 10 times. We want it to run till, let's suppose, 4 times, like right. So outer loop will be executed 4 times and inner loop will be executed 3 times, right? Okay, so step by step we will execute these statements, right? So okay, so let's say we are running this program and compiler will first execute this statements I equals 1. So let's say we write I equals 1, and then this condition will be checked, I less than or equals 4. So this condition is true, right? This condition is true, and then this statement will be executed in j equals 1 because this code is part of this loop. So if the condition is true, then this part of the loop will be executed. So j equals 1, so we initialize j equals 1, and then this loop will be executed if this condition is true. So 1 is less than or equals 3, right? Condition is true, condition is true. And then we have cout statements. Now these two statements, cout and j++, these two statements are within the inner loop, which is this one. So these statements will be executed until the condition is false. So cout I, what is the value of I? Is 1. So it will print, let's suppose we are writing here output, so it will print 1 and then comma and then space, and then it will print j value. So j's value is 1, so it will print 1 comma 1, right? And then it will increment j++. So after this statement, value of j will be 2, right? And then the compiler will move towards these statements because this loop is still executed. So the value of j is 2, and this condition will be checked, 2 is less than or equals 3. Again the condition is true, right? So cout and I, what's the value of I? The value of I is still same, so it will print 1. So the value of j is 2 and it will print 2, and then AND, so new line, right? And then j++, and when j++ statement is executed, the value of j will be incremented by 1, so it will be 3. And again there are statements, and then while condition will be checked again, right? So this condition is basically true, 3 is less than or equals 3, condition is true, right? Condition is true, so this statement will be executed. The value of I is again same, 1 comma space, and the value of j will be printed. The value of j is 3, right? Value of j is 3, and AND, and then j will be incremented by 1, so this will be 4, right? And then this condition will be checked, and whether the condition is true or false. Let's check. J is 4, 4 is less than or equals 3, condition is false, condition is false. So these two statements will not be executed because the loop will be terminated, and because condition is false, right? And then I++, because inner loop is terminated, so this is the outer statement, this is outer loop statement, this will be executed. So I++, what's the value of I? 1, it will be 2, right? So after this, outer loop condition will be checked, 2 is less than or equals 4 because the value of I is 2, so 2 is less than or equals 4, condition is true, right? And then this statement will be executed in j equals 1, and the value of j will be 1 because we are assigning the value, because we are initializing the value, right? So j will be replaced by 1, and again this loop will be executed if the condition is true. So the value of j is 1 again, and this condition will be true, and we have cout statement. Cout will be I, the value of I is again 2 comma, the value of j is 1, right? And new line, and then we have j++, so the value of j will be incremented by 1, and the condition is true again, so this will be 2 comma value of j, which is 2, and like this it will be continued until the outer loop condition is false, right? So we will be having like two. This the value in first column is basically for outer loop, and the value in second column is basically for inner loop. So when the outer loop is iterated first time, the inner loop, which is basically while loop, this while loop, which is inner loop, this is executed 3 times in every iteration of our outer loop. So the outer loop value is same and the value of inner loop is changed, right? So this is the simple execution of nested while loop. We have seen the general syntax for nested while loop, and this is the simple code for nested while loop, right? So let's check the output of this program, and we will compile and execute this program, and let's see the output. So 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 1 comma 3, 2 comma 1, 2 2, 2 3, 3 1, 3 2, 3 3, 4 1, 4 2, 4 3. So this is the output of the program. Now let's play with this code. So we are raising the output here, okay, and we have initialized this variable here. Let's say we are initializing this variable here, j equals 1, and we want initialize here. We will just write j equals 1. So this is same as we have initialized as we have done before. So this code will produce the output same as it. So if you look at the output is same. Clear? So now let's play with the code. We are changing the code. Let's say we write this statement, which is cout statement, outside of the loop, like here. Okay, so now what will be the output? What will be the output in the inner loop? This is inner loop and this is outer loop. In inner loop we are not doing anything, we are just incrementing one by one the value of j, and in outer loop we are printing the value. So what will be the output? First of all, when the value of j equals 1, so the j this condition will be true and j will be incremented by 1. Again the condition is true, we are not printing here anything, so this will be incremented until the value of j is 4, right? So that when the value of j is 4, this loop will be terminated. Then the compiler will come here and the value of I is 1, and then here will be 4. So 1 comma 4, right? And then I plus plus I equals 1, j equals 4 when this loop is terminated, and then it will print here. This is output, right? And the value of I is I will be incremented by 1, so I will be 2, and there is still the value of j is 4, so this condition will be true and the value of j will be again 1. And when this loop is terminated, again the value of j will be 4, right? J will be 4, and the output will be 2 comma 4, 3 comma 4, and 4 comma 4, right? I hope you got it. Let's execute this program. We are executing this program and see the output: 1 comma 4, 2 comma 4, 3 comma 4, and 4 comma 4. If you execute this code like compiler line by line and step by step, then you will understand clearly. You just you must have a pen and paper and execute this code step by step, like we are executing here. Value of each variable is changed, we are writing here, and then we are writing the output as well. Now let's change the code again, and we are writing this statement again here, and we want to print here only the value of j, let's suppose, and we don't want new line here, right? So now what will be the output? First of all, when the compiler come here, it will print initially this will be 1 and this will be 1 again, and there will be no output. When there is the cout statement, it will print first of all 1, right, and there's no new line. Then j plus plus, again the condition is true, so it will print 2, again it will print 3, and the condition is false, so it will come out of inner loop, and I will be plus plus, and this j value is 4, and I will be 2 when compiler comes here. And then again the condition is true, 2 is less than or equals 4, the value of I, j will be 1, again this will be 1, right? And again what will be the value here? 1 2 3, again 1 2 3, 4 times 1 2 3, because outer loop is executed 4 times and inner loop is executed 3 times. So, and the value of j is initialized 1 each time. So let's run this and check the output whether this is true or false. So 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and again 1 2 3, so 4 times 1. Let's make sure whether this is 4 times or not. So we are let's suppose we want AND L after inner loop. So now what will be the output? 1 2 3, and the new line 1 2 3, and 1 2 3, and 1 2 3. This will be the output. Let's execute this program and check the output whether this is or not. So this is right. So now let's change again. We want that we want space here, let's suppose, and now check the output. It will there will be space after each time the value is printed, right? So 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3 with spaces. And now let's do some change here. Let's say we write here 1, and now every time condition will be checked, like j is less than or equals I. So let's check the output here. I is initially 1, and this condition will be true, outer loop condition will be true, right? J equals 1, so j equals 1, and j is 1, and 1 I is 1 is less than or equals 1, condition is true, right? Condition is true, so Cout will be 1. There will be 1 output and no new line, only space. J plus plus 2 is less than or equals 1, condition is false, so there is new line, and there will be new line, and I plus plus, and I will be 2, and again 2 is less than or equals 4, j is 1, so j will be 1, and this condition will be checked. 1 is less than or equals 2, condition is true, so it will print 1 space, and then j will be incremented by 1, so it will be 2. Again 2 is less than or equals 2, because the value of I is still 2, so then print here space 2, right? And then the value of j will be incremented by 1 here, and j will be 3, condition is false, inner loop condition is false, and the compiler will come here. This is outer statement, right? So new line, here will be new line, and again the condition is true because I is 3 and 3 is less than or equals 4, and the value for j will be 1 here. This is outer statement, right? So j will be 1, and again here will be 1 space 2 space 3, right? And again there will be 1 2 3, right? So now there will be output 1 space 2 space 3 space 4. You can run it on your screen, on your laptop, or any system. So this will be the output. So let's execute this code and check the output. 1 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4, right? So this is the small this is the output with small change. You can do different kind of changes. You can write any program using nested while loop and do a small change, and first predict the output, write the output on your paper, and then execute the code on your computer, and then match whether this is right or wrong, whether the output you predicted, what you wrote on the paper, whether that is right or wrong, and then do a change again, right? I hope that is clear now. I hope that is clear now. If you have any query, then you may ask me.